Do you remember this project from one of my last videos? Ta-da! I did it! I changed the dress. Hi, I'm Birgit from Koba.Siani. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this quick video here. Recently I thought this dress here and I wanted to have it like this for a special photo shoot, but I thought like this it wouldn't be wearable for every day. So during the sewing process I had the idea to remove the sleeves and shorten it. So I did it and here is the result. In this short video here I'll show you exactly what I did. Above all, the armhole workmanship, which I did with an inside piping with bias tape, which is super easy when you don't have an extra pattern piece for this workmanship or for cleaning the armhole edge, such as a facing. So let's dive into this project. Have fun with the video. As I wanted to go back to this state here of the dress, when I made a quick fit check during the last video, I had to remove the lower skirt tier, and as I was lazy, I just cut it off. The big sleeves I also ripped off. Then I cut some bias tape to neaten the armholes. As the name already says, it's cut with a bias grain line, means in a 45-degree angle to the selvage. But don't worry, this hasn't to be 100% perfect. You can easily make this freehand. I'm cutting these fabric strips with a width of 3 cm, and as I've cut them from a fabric rest, they couldn't be in one piece, so I'm joining now the ends by putting the ends together, right fabric side to right fabric side in a 90-degree angle, sewing these ends together with a diagonal seam. Then I cut off the fabric here and only leave a seam allowance of around 5 mm. This seam allowance I'm simply pressing apart with my fingers. As soon as the bias tape is prepared like this, I can pin it all around the armhole edge. Again, of course, right fabric side to right fabric side and the edges aligning. Then the tape ends are cut with an overlapping of 3 cm. This is the tape width. And again, these ends are joined in a 90-degree angle with a diagonal seam with the same technique like before. Like this, the tape runs all around the armhole. I know that with this flower print on the fabric, all the working steps are not that visible. So if you're not familiar with the inside bias tape workmanship, you can also watch the chapter Armhole in the layer dress sewing video. There the details are much more visible. I'll link the video for you here. Then the bias tape can be sewn to the armhole all around. As always, or almost always, with 1 cm seam allowance. This seam allowance is then trimmed to its half, and it also has to be cut into towards the seam, so that the rounding under the arm is nice and smooth later. Then comes the ironing work. At first I'm pressing the seam allowance open over a wooden spoon. Then the bias tape is folded to the inside of the dress, so that the seam line is also slightly tilted to the inside. And then it's wrapped around the seam allowance. Still, everything is on the inside of the dress, nothing visible from the outside. And like this, it's pinned. The width of this fold over should now be around 7 to 9 mm, but this comes automatically. By the way, the working step with the wooden spoon can be omitted, but the edges get a little bit nicer when you iron the seam allowances apart as a first step. So this time I've made it, although it is a lot of work. When the bias tape is now stitched in place from the outside of the dress with a distance from the edge of around 5 mm, it's now also quite safe that you catch the layers underneath because of the width of the fold over of around 7 to 9 mm. Then the armholes are already ready. At last, I'm only preparing the hem. With it being top stitched, the project was finished, or at least seemed to be finished. You will soon see why I say this. So that's it already, the dress is ready. These were all the extra steps which I had to do for this version here. If you want to rewatch or watch the original video, I link it for you here. And also, if you haven't heard it yet, this dress here were pattern hacks of my dress pattern Natalie, which normally looks like this here, which of course you can get in all my shops. The links are as always down below in the description box. And now of course the big question, was it worth it? Now the dress looks a little bit like a German dirndl dress. I like the outcome very much, but also the previous version with the big puff sleeves was also so nice. And apparently maxi dresses are back in fashion. So what do you think? Were the alterations good, or should I have left it like this here? Let's chat in the comments. Hey everyone, this is me from a few weeks later. Of course we can still discuss the dresses in the comments, but for myself I took a decision. I just felt that the spark of the original dress was gone with the short dress, and I just so missed the long skirt, which felt so princess-like. So I made the skirt again longer. I re-added the lower tier, but now with new proportions. Means I've cut the upper tier a little bit so that both skirt tiers are equally high now. That means also the total length of the skirt is a little bit shorter, which I also think is quite practical. And now I love the dress. I also have worn it several times already, and this is already a good sign. So I would say after 2 sewing videos, this sewing project is officially finished. I'm really very satisfied with the result, but let me know your opinion in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. You've made it until the end. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up here on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, follow me on social media for more creative content. And of course I hope to see you very soon again to my next sewing project. Take care until then, bye!